Have you ever found yourself lying awake in the middle of the night, when all things have fallen into silence, but your mind rings with loud noises? Those are the films of the past, filled with regret, the anxieties about declining health, or the uncertainty of tomorrow. As we grow older, our souls should ideally become more peaceful, but in reality, the mind often becomes unusually busy. The burdens of memory and the fear of loneliness make sleep a luxury. However, Buddhism teaches that peace does not fade away over time. On the contrary, it becomes even deeper as we reach the twilight of life. This video will explore with you how to soothe a restless mind and rediscover wisdom amidst drifting thoughts. We do not run away, but learn to observe them with a compassionate heart. Let us rediscover the stillness that has always existed within you, right tonight. Lesson 1. Understanding the nature of overthinking. Imagine the thoughts in your head at night are like a rushing river that has lost its banks. Instead of flowing peacefully, it becomes a violent torrent, sweeping away all tranquility and creating turbulent whirlpools. In Buddhist philosophy, the human mind is often compared to a monkey mind, a monkey that never sits still but constantly leaps from one branch to another. When we are young, those branches are ambitions and plans. But as the twilight of life approaches, that monkey clings to the tangled branches of memory, regret, and invisible anxieties. The Buddha taught that everything we experience is the result of what we have thought. Therefore, feelings of insecurity or happiness do not come from the outside world, but originate right within the mind. In old age, overthinking often sprouts from two deep roots: attachment and fear. We cling to what is past, the health of our youth, old relationships, or the social status we once held. At the same time, we fear what lies ahead, the fear of illness, loneliness, and even the final departure. These thoughts are completely natural because we are human, but if we hold on to them too tightly, we unintentionally create dukkha, or suffering. To resolve this chaos, the first step is not to destroy thoughts, but to understand them. Treat every idea that arises in your mind as a guest visiting your home, rather than an enemy to be driven away. You can observe them just as you watch clouds drifting across the sky. You cannot stop the clouds from flying, but you have every right to choose not to chase after them. When you begin to practice this gentle observation, you will realize a liberating truth. You are not your thoughts. You are the vast sky, while thoughts are merely passing thunderstorms. Just as the depths of the ocean always maintain stillness beneath the white-capped waves, your true nature remains calm no matter how noisy the mind becomes. By clearly understanding this nature, you will learn how to rest at a level deeper than thought, where peace begins to bloom. Lesson 2. The wisdom of impermanence. Once we understand that we are not our thoughts, we take another step toward liberating the mind by understanding the law of impermanence, also known as Anicca. This is one of the most core teachings of Buddhism, asserting that nothing is eternal. Every object, every breath, and every emotional state, whether it be pain or sorrow, possesses a temporary nature. We often fall into the whirlpool of overthinking simply because we stubbornly believe those troubles are fixed. When the mind tries to cling to something unchanging in a world that is always shifting, conflict and suffering arise. In old age, the truth of impermanence appears more clearly than ever. You can see the changes in your body through every wrinkle, through health that is no longer as it was, or through relationships that gradually grow distant over time. The outside world seems to be spinning faster and becoming more unfamiliar. These changes often make us fearful and lead us to resist by thinking more, hoping to find safety in meticulous calculations. But the Buddha reminds us that change is not the enemy. It is the very essence of life. All conditioned things must change, and when we see through this with wisdom, we will no longer be swept into the vortex of resistance. Imagine the thoughts in your head are like golden leaves falling in autumn. A green tree never tries to hold on to the leaves that have already left their branches. It lets them fall naturally and serenely, knowing that a new spring will come again. Your mind can also become as steadfast as that tree trunk. Instead of trying to hold on to a past that is gone or a future that has not arrived, let those thoughts fall away according to their own natural law. Overthinking only happens when we try to freeze time, but the only reality we have is this moment. When anxieties about the past begin to rise late at night, breathe gently and tell yourself that the moment has truly passed. And now, you are here, peaceful in the present. When fear of tomorrow finds you, continue that breath and whisper that tomorrow has not yet come, and only this moment is real. This practice does not make life gloomy. On the contrary, it brings boundless freedom. Impermanence means that no sorrow is forever, and no burden is eternal. When you embrace impermanence, the piled-up thoughts will begin to vanish, giving way to a profound tranquility, a quiet understanding that everything is drifting peacefully in the river of time. Lesson 3. The practice of mindfulness, returning to the present home. Mindfulness is not a strange or lofty concept, but it is inherently as close as our very own breath. The Buddha called this sati, meaning wakefulness, the ability to remember to be fully present in this very moment. When practicing mindfulness, we do not try to control or block the flow of thought, but simply remind ourselves that we are truly living right here. For the elderly, mindfulness is like a homecoming to a warm inner house. Although the body may no longer be as agile as before, our awareness can become more vast, free, and peaceful than ever. Every time the mind begins to wander into the paths of the past or worry about hypothetical scenarios of the future, mindfulness will gently take our hand and lead us back to the simplicity of the present. Try starting with a slow breath. Feel the cool air entering the body and the relaxation as the breath goes out. Just one conscious breath like that is enough to remind you that you are safe and you are alive. The Buddha once taught not to dwell in the past nor dream of the future, but to concentrate the mind on the present moment. When we do this, overthinking will automatically calm down, because the mind cannot go astray when it is busy being present. Whenever you find yourself tossing and turning because of nameless thoughts, pause and silently say to yourself, breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. This pure awareness creates a pristine space between you and the turbulence, and it is within that space that peace is born. You can bring mindfulness into even the smallest daily activities before going to bed. When drinking a cup of tea, feel the warmth spreading in the palms of your hands. When walking, listen to the rhythm of each footstep touching the ground. When hearing the sound of rain, simply listen without the need for analysis or judgment. Each moment of awakening is like a candle lighting up the darkness, not extinguishing all thoughts, but providing enough light for you to see everything clearly. In Buddhism, the present is considered the only and true refuge. Peace is not something to be achieved in the future, but something for us to return to. As we age, this awareness becomes a loyal companion, helping you rest in the sacred stillness of the present, where anxieties no longer have ground to take root. Lesson 4. Compassion and self-acceptance. One of the most merciful teachings of the Buddha is that compassion must begin with oneself. We often find it very easy to offer gentle, comforting words to others when they face difficulties. Yet we unintentionally become harsh and severe with ourselves. In old age, this inner critical voice often becomes louder than ever. It constantly judges past choices, criticizes a changing appearance, or agonizes over things we think we should have done better. In reality, overthinking at night often hides a deep longing, the longing to be forgiven and to be reconciled with our true selves. The Buddha affirmed that you yourself, as much as anyone in the entire universe, deserve your own love and affection. When this is understood, the restless mind will begin to soften and calm down. Every time you notice your mind falling into a whirlpool of self-blame, instead of trying to resist or drive it away, learn to whisper to yourself with all kindness, "Everything is okay. I have done the best I could." This simple act of self-love has the power to completely change the nature of your inner dialogue. Imagine your mind as an old friend carrying too many anxieties. You certainly would not yell at or scold a worried friend. Instead, you would listen, comfort, and reassure them. You should treat your thoughts with the same tenderness. When the mind says, "I should have worked harder," respond gently, "At that time, I did everything within my power." When it fears, "What will happen tomorrow?" answer with composure, "I will embrace it when it comes." This is not self-indulgence or pampering, but self-compassion, an inner source of strength that helps you sit still with your imperfections and still find peace. In Buddhist practice, compassion is closely linked to loving-kindness meditation, also known as metta. This process begins by repeating sincere aspirations in the stillness of the night. Let these words permeate your heart. May I be peaceful. May I be free from fear. May I live with ease. Then expand your consciousness and send those same wishes to your loved ones, friends, and even those with whom you have had conflicts. Each repeated prayer will soothe the restless energy of the mind, causing negative thoughts to lose the fuel to ignite because your heart has opened. In old age, compassion is not weakness, but the wisdom of someone who has tasted all the shades of life. You have loved, lost, failed, and stood up again. Each of those experiences was meant to soften your heart, not to break it. When you bring compassion into your drifting thoughts, you are not trying to erase them, but are embracing them with love. You are reminding yourself that even in anxieties and regrets, you are still completely worthy of peace. At that moment, the mind will truly rest, because what it has been searching for all along is not logical answers, but unconditional understanding and acceptance. Lesson 5. Letting go. In the journey of life, there comes a time when clinging stubbornly becomes much heavier than choosing to let go. Overthinking is essentially a habit of attachment. We hold tightly to words spoken, actions taken, and the shadows of a past self that we think should have been different. However, as we enter the twilight of life, the greatest wisdom does not lie in accumulating more, but in the art of letting everything fall away as naturally as leaves leaving a branch, without resentment, without regret. Letting go does not mean erasing memories or being indifferent to life, but accepting that everything is in flux. Peace does not come from trying to control the flow of life, but from learning to flow with it. Just as a river flows toward the ocean, passing over rocks without ever trying to hold on to a single stone, our minds can learn to glide through emotions and thoughts without becoming trapped in them. Whenever you find yourself stuck in a thought loop, pause, take a deep breath, and gently say to yourself, "I release this thought with love." You do not need to chase it away. or use willpower to suppress it. You simply need to allow it to leave when it is ready. In Buddhist philosophy, this is called non-attachment. It is not cold indifference, but a wonderful clarity. It is the realization that everything we cherish will eventually change form, and love only truly becomes pure when it is no longer bound by the fear of loss. Look once again at the image of the vast sky. Clouds may be dark or bright, turbulent or still, but the sky remains whole and unchanged by whatever passes through it. Letting go is the moment you remember that you are the vast sky, not those drifting clouds. In these later years, this practice becomes an invaluable blessing. You gradually realize that you cannot shift the way the world operates or change how others act. But you can absolutely choose to hold those truths with the gentlest touch. Perhaps you will remember someone who hurt you long ago, or a precious opportunity you missed. You might think of words you wish you had said, or actions you wish you had done differently. But instead of letting them haunt the dark of night, you can now smile and bow to them, thank them for the lessons, and then let them rest in the past. The Buddha taught that to let go is essentially to let be. Each time you release a thought, you create more space for light to enter. Each time you forgive, you are unbinding yourself. Letting go is not a one-time act, but a gentle unfolding that happens every day, until your mind becomes as still as a lake without a ripple. In that silence, you will realize something profound. Peace was never lost. It was only hidden by what you have been struggling to hold on to for so long. Lesson 6. The wisdom of stillness. In the journey of a lifetime, there will come a moment when all external seeking comes to a halt. It is not because we have found all the answers to the mysteries of the world, but because we realize we no longer need them. This is the very wisdom of stillness. In our youth, we tirelessly chase knowledge. In middle age, we long for success or a sense of belonging to a community. But as we enter these later years, our souls begin to yearn for something deeper and pure: silence, rest, and true peace. Buddhism calls this the quiet heart, a state where the heart no longer wrestles with the world or tries to change anything, but simply remains present and tolerant of all. Stillness is not a meaningless emptiness, but a fulfillment that transcends all the noise of thought. Like a calm lake reflecting majestic mountains without any effort, when the water of the mind becomes still, everything naturally becomes transparent and clear. Stillness does not require you to sit for hours in temples or recite long sutras. It can arise in the simplest moments of daily life. It is when you quietly watch the dawn slowly breaking, feel the warmth of a teacup in your palms, listen to the birds singing outside the window, or just breathe very slowly. Overthinking inherently lives off the constant movement of calculation and recollection. Stillness will gently dissolve that chaos by reminding the mind that it doesn't have to do anything at all. You can observe your streams of thought like tiny ripples naturally subsiding. Then, you will realize that peace has never been on the outside. It has always been waiting beneath every layer of anxious thought and restless memory. The Buddha once meditated under the Bodhi tree in a stillness so profound that even his heartbeat seemed to harmonize with the rhythm of Mother Earth. That stillness is also present within you. It is not a privilege reserved for saints, but belongs to all beings who dare to sit still and listen to the voice of their own soul. Stillness brings a new kind of vision, helping you see clearly that most of the things we once worried about never actually happened, and every difficult challenge we once feared eventually vanished over time. Life was never meant to be a problem to be solved, but a journey to be experienced fully in every moment. As we age, the mind tends to revisit old stories of who we were, what we did, and what we lost. But when you rest in stillness, those stories become faint and weightless. You stop overthinking not because you forget, but because you understand and accept. In this stillness, you touch what the Buddha called nirvana, not a distant realm after death, but a state of peace beyond all struggle and fear. It is the reassurance that all is well, that you are whole, and that you are in your very own home. Stillness is not about escaping life, but about embracing life with all its imperfections and resting in the belief that everything is already enough. At that point, the thinking mind finally bows to give way to a gentle smile and a kind heart, helping you live out your remaining days in absolute grace and peace. As these reflections gradually come to a close, take a moment to breathe very slowly, deeply, and peacefully. You have traveled a long road in life, overcoming countless ups and downs, and it is each of those steps that has led you to this beautiful awareness. Overthinking is not a flaw to be fixed, but simply the mind's way of expressing a longing for rest. But as we have contemplated together, peace does not come from finding the answer to every thought, but from learning to rest beneath them. It is about seeing through all things with wisdom, forgiving deeply, and letting go gently. Always remember that you are not the anxieties surrounding you, nor are you the ghosts of the past. You are the wakeful awareness watching everything, the eternal stillness that remains after every storm. May your mind become light, your heart stay open, and your coming days be filled with serene joy. True peace is not found somewhere far away, but has always been right here, right within you. Rest completely in the sanctuary of your own heart